I want to ask you, though, you talked a lot about how women and men aren't the same. We couldn't agree more there. There is a trend now of ignoring that. And the reason that people ignore it is because it's not woke. It's not woke to say that men and women are different. And you now have, the military, you have the police, and you have the firefighters. Yeah. You have all that wokeness kind of just saturating those spaces. Where do you stand on things like women in combat, in active combat, women as police officers, women as firefighters? What's your take on all that?
I think it's silly for the most part. I don't think that those dangerous jobs, I think that if we really want to be equal, like everybody says, then we should pick the best people for the position, and the best people are universally going to be men. Unless, again, like you want to do something like the military where you alter the standards for women to get in, you lower the standards for women to get in, and in that case, that's not equality. So if you want equality, true equality, all the police jobs would be men, firefighters, all men, military, all men, 10 out of 10. And any kind of, if you put women into the military, that's going to weaken the military. And I don't think people understand that. And it's maybe because we're in a situation where there's been more peace than ever before for a very long period for America as a whole, that we just start to think that the world is this utopia where everybody's all nice and kind and China ain't committing genocide. And I don't want to go too far. But yeah. Basically what I'm saying is people got
lazy.
Yeah, people get lazy. People start to think things that are true are not true. And that's just what this is. Like, you can't have women in combat in the military. And I feel weird for even saying that, because what are we doing?
So I'm of the opinion, like, to me, there needs to be one standard. For example, you need to set that standard. Let's talk about the police department, for example. Firemen, there needs to be one standard. These are the qualifications to become a firefighter. You need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. I know the firefighter test is insane. You got to walk up, I don't know how many flights of stairs carrying, I don't know how much weight. If there is a woman out there who can do that, who performs and who completes that and passes the test, great, meets the qualifications, I'm all for her being a fireman, firefighter, firewoman, whatever you want to call it. I'm not into these politically correct terms, firefighter, whatever. If women can't do it, they can't do it. You don't lower the standards, because these are industries where it becomes dangerous, right? You got a fire and someone's at the top of a 5th floor walk up. You're not like, oh, let me, have gender diversity that day. No, you want the person who's going to get you out of that damn building.
And a lot of people is being disingenuous when it comes to this conversation, and they don't understand that it's a man's innate need, or it's just in our nature to protect women. So if we get in a situation where there's a fire and I see that there's a male firefighter next to me, I'm going to trust him to make the decision. I'm not going to worry about him. We're both going to go in and do our job. If I know that she's a female, I'm more concerned for her safety than I would be a man. So I'm going to compromise my original mission in order to protect her. Same thing for the military. Women, just statistically speaking, women are more likely to have injuries. Women are smaller. Women are shorter. Women are weaker on average. So if we're going into a situation where we need to put our best foot forward, when it comes to combat and when it comes to strenuous physical tasks, I don't think that women would be in that conversation, genuinely speaking.
You mentioned something about the instinct of a man to protect women. Have you ever seen those videos? And I'm going to speak to New York City. I come from New York City. Have you ever seen those videos that pop up from the subway where you'll see a woman being harassed on the subway by I don't know who, and there's a bunch of guys just sitting there watching and they don't do anything about it? Yeah. What do you think is causing that trend, particularly in cities like New York City and Los Angeles, among men?
I think this whole teaching boys that they're equal to women and women that they're equal to boys doesn't help. I think that men, by and large, and this, if any man hears this and isn't just upset, I don't know what you are then, because men are just weaker than we were before. Statistically speaking, when it comes to sperm count is down in men 60%. When it comes to testosterone, me as a 27-year-old man, I'm going to have 36% less testosterone than a man in 1980, 1989.
Why is
so
that?
Men have been, because they're putting plastic in the ranch. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, like we're eating fast food.
He's not wrong.
We're overly stressed. This is true. So for guys, as a man, that's contributed. Like, when you talk about testosterone, that means how you are mentally. That affects how you are hormonally. Obviously, it just affects how you perform as a man. It affects your mental clarity. It affects your drive to protect and provide for women. And so men are becoming weaker, and nobody's talking about this stuff. The only place you can hear this information are channels like in the manosphere. So when you want to hear stuff like this and say, okay, guys, that means you got to get in the gym. You can't be filled with estrogen. You got to stop eating the fast food because they're putting ranch in the chicken nuggets, or they're putting plastic in the chicken nuggets. You know what I'm saying? So you got to start having these conversations with young guys so that they understand the steps that they can take to become better. And when you talk about women getting harassed and hit and beaten and whatever on the transit and nobody's doing anything, those are guys that are less men than men were previously, and teaching men and women that they're both the same and that women can defend themselves just like men doesn't help.
If you like the short clip, you can catch another one here, or you can catch the full episode right here.